You see, so emerging ideas have been called. Thank you very much. I'm used to, yeah, there we go. So anyway, I went down to South Africa and didn't know anyone here. I had my uncle who was one of the big chiefs at ZBC, and he used to say to the guy, hey, please, get me on radio, I want to go on radio. And you know, he just didn't give me the time of day. And years later, you know, when I made it on radio in South Africa, I was speaking to my sister, and she reminds me that when I was little, I actually used to get into the wardrobe and broadcast, you know, like, hey, come in here, listen to this, and play around with some ideas. Anyway, went down to South Africa, no relatives, no sekuru, no one to not go to, and the guys I was staying with, you know, that gave me accommodation. They were into music, producing the Yuma Sekelas. They were just coming back from the States. They produced an album called Homecoming. And so they were discovered, they moved on to the UK. And the day they moved out, a phone call came in from a casting agent. And they were looking for a guy called Sanyangwara. He's a rapper, very active and creative guy. And so this lady on the phone says, hi, may I please speak to Pat? And I said, Pat, he's just left yesterday, he went to the UK. And she was like, oh, she really sounded devastated. Like, you know, I had casted him for a commercial and he got the part. This is why I'm calling it. They're shooting on Saturday and he was needed for a callback. So I was like, hey, then you are in luck because you know what? I told her everything. The long and short of it, you know, I went to see this lady. She auditioned me and I was really, sometimes I sit there and think, damn, I wish I was 21 over again. I mean, I was arrogant, I was on point. I think that's what they call faith in the Bible, but I just wanted to do something and I was sure I could do everything, you know what I mean? So we went for the audition. Actually, I got the part and I got a check for 8,000 rands. My biggest check ever. At that time I was sitting there and thinking, oh, 8,000 rands. I'd been working on the street. Prior to that, we were selling toys. I used to work for a company called Worldwide Industries. This is where I learned to talk. And basically what they did, I think they discovered the Look East policy way long time ago. And they used to buy cheap Chinese or Taiwanese toys that I don't know how much they lended them for in Joburg, but we used to sell them for 5 rand and 10 rand. So in the morning we'd go into this place, there'd be like 20, 15 of us. And they would, which I really wish some of you, I wish I could remember all those steps. They had a big thing written out on the wall there, 12 steps into making a pitch. I don't know, has anybody ever been through such a thing or anyone remembers those steps? Those that have done sales, not sales like telesales or driving in the car. I'm talking about moving with a big bag, you know, like go, 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 go. And people go in there and you know. So anyway, they had 12 steps to a pitch and I picked the ones that I particularly like. I think at number 4, they had to take control. I liked that one, you know what I mean? They said no matter who you are selling to, no matter who you're presenting the pitch to, you really must be in a place where you take control of the customer. So, for example, I'll get there and I'll have this little toy. Some of them, a good example would be, they had a clown that was holding little plastic balloons. Just this height. So it used to be battery operated. You switch it on and it would be useless stuff. And it goes, it will be just like, you totally useless stuff. So you go in there, you say, hey, hi, ma'am, how are you doing? My name is TK, I'm from Worldwide Industries. I have wonderful news for you today. You see this thing here? I just got it the other day. It came in. This thing does amazing things. You switch it on, you know. And she says, but this is just it's just a clown. It's a boring. I'm an old lady. What do I need a toy for? Ma'am, this is why it's 5 rand. The guy next door, 2. Tell you what, you take this. You know, like, but this guy's really brilliant. You know what I mean? So you didn't let her ask the question. You were selling and bombarding her. By the time she's done, it's like, so how many are you taking today? You know, and she would take 3. And so with the job, you get to know a territory. So you go back again tomorrow with a new product. Hi, ma'am, how are you doing? Today I have this wonderful watch. They're like, you that guy that came last week and sold me that thing. Look, it's broken. That's why it was 5 rand, man. You see, now I can replace that one, but look, today I've got this. So you're constantly taking control. That was my favorite one, step number 4. And, well, they had others, but I think just to keep up with time, I'll keep it moving. The way I eventually got into radio is they had a station there, a community radio station. It was for Sandton. Now, this is a very peculiar thing because Sandton is one of the poshest suburbs in Joburg. But the funny thing is, there's a township in Sandton called Alex. No streets, very informal, big crime, time and everything. So this radio station used to broadcast for Santon comedians surrounding areas. And they had a slot, guest DJ slot, on a Tuesday morning. Between 2 and 6, I remember, yeah. So I woke up in the morning, managed to get my transport, went and did my show. I took time to record what I was doing because I really loved radio and I wanted to get it. So I took time, I went there, I had rehearsed. I had my game to the T, I recorded my show. And after my show in the morning, I got home, I was very excited. I typed a letter, a very daring one again. Oh, I love the energy back there. I said, "Dear Kenny FM, thank you very much for putting me on the guest slot DJ. I totally enjoyed myself today. As a matter of fact, find attached a demo or a tape of that which I did on the air. Your show, your station is amazing. And having me on there will even make it more amazing. You need a guy like me." And I'll tell you what, before 10 o'clock that day, those guys called me and said, "Come here, why do you talk like this?" I said, "Oh, did you listen to the tape?" They're like, "Yeah, okay, tell you what." They gave me the guest slot, that was my slot. It was shut down from that day, it became mine. I worked for free for 2-3 years at Kenny FM. Go ahead, because this is good. Anyway, I worked for this radio station for 2-3 years or so, and it just so happened that at that time, it was a community station. They came to us and said they had all the black guys working at night, South Africa, all the white guys working in the daytime. So they got all the black guys in the morning and said, guys, black guys. They could have just said, black guys, but they didn't say that. They said, "Hey guys, the daytime shows are sponsored, so we can pay those. The nighttime shows are not sponsored, so if you want to be here, you just carry on." But you see, I want to tell you something about passion. And this is one of the hindrances for us young people, you young people in Zimbabwe, is that money. I think we need to change our priorities. Get the passion. The passion will get through the stress, through the hardship, because you love what you're doing. You are developing yourself. You are constantly trying to find new ways of doing that which you're doing. When you develop yourself to a certain level, there's a level that you get to that you cannot afford to be ignored. People cannot afford to ignore you. You become a necessary component of whatever is existing. People call you like, "Hey, we need you to do this," because you have taken time to develop yourself. So passion comes first. So anyway, I worked 3 years for free, and it was during this work at Kenny FM at midnight, no car, going through at night, that a station that was bought by a company called Prime Media, Highfield Stereo. They bought it from the SABC. And now they were looking at changing direction because they were doing like a B Afrikaans broadcast. If they wanted to go up tempo, it's probably one of the most profitable radio stations right now in South Africa. They have grown, they've done wonderful stuff, they have evolved. So anyway, they came around looking for some new people, and they got myself, I think Robert Marawa, if you know him, who does the sports there. There's a couple of other names there. So then there was like 8 or 12 of us that they started training, and of the bunch, I was the first one to be put on air. Again, my stars were shining, and I went on to Highfield Stereo. I think I was the first black person to go onto the station there doing a midnight slot. But what I'm trying to demonstrate here, I worked for free for so long to learn this job, because I wanted to evolve myself, I developed, I learned new ways. And when I got this job, then they started professionally training me for radio. Anyway, years later we moved on. I worked for the SABC on TV for SABC2, worked for Metro FM and Highfield Stereo. I did Share Road to Fame in 1997, Channel O, and a whole lot of stuff. Okay, point number 2, why collaborating with people is so key in Zimbabwe. I think for me, I looked at that and I said, I really gotta be honest. I've had challenges with partnerships. Not to point fingers or anyone. I think maybe I have trust issues. Am I the only one? In terms of what do you trust? Because you talk to people like, "Hi, why don't you take your idea over there?" People are like, "Those guys, they steal ideas." And so you find that in a room like this with everybody who's got an idea, a lot of people die with their ideas. You've got your precious little idea, you're gonna die with it, you're not gonna make anything. So somebody once said, 5% of something big is better than 100% of mediocre. So guys, I just want to say, do not be scared to push your ideas. If your ideas work, they will need you to push that idea. You are an essential component of that idea. So, partnerships. I think let's try by all means to create those partnerships. Let's not operate out of fear. but rather let's push those ideas as hard as we can. I mean, one thing I noticed tonight is the presenters that pitched their ideas tonight, only one person apologized even then for their partners not being here. Everyone was going at it alone. I think, I've watched The Dragon Den, which is similar. Sometimes you've got 3-4 people to explain ideas. Where are those synergies? Is it a lack of trust? How do we get over not trusting each other, corporates? How do we also become sincere people? We've got something called Be That Man that goes on here at the church, where we're saying, you know what? We love our wives, we try to be good men in our society. We're not that perfect men, but our ideal is to become Be That Man. So we must try these ideas. We must also try to be very sincere and be able to get into a place where we can trust each other. Lastly, one thing that a hustling young person can do to experience rounded success. All right. I think there's quite a lot, but obviously you know your game. You gotta know your game. You gotta know your product. You gotta know the people that you're talking to. Study your audiences. One thing I do in the morning is I've cut down just basically the psychology behind what we do at the Ignition. We start at 6 a.m. That's our radio show. We finish at 10 a.m. And so we've taken time to try and think and imagine, in the absence of sometimes statistics that we need, to think, who are we talking to? What are they doing? 6 in the morning at my house, I know the whole house, everyone is getting ready. So we're talking to people that are getting up and doing something. So what do we say to them? Because they're not really like on TV and sitting and listening to TV, but they're doing things. We can't lecture them, but we want them to be involved. So we're talking to parents and people that are getting ready to go somewhere. 7 to 8, we're talking to commuters, people that are already going to 8 o'clock. How am I doing with time? Okay. And then 8 people are settling in the office. So we try and program our music psychology along those lines. Okay? Is it the best way that we should be doing things? I don't know, but we are doing something and trying to get that thing going. So know your products, know your audiences. One of the things that everyone seems to touch on tonight, including Bobby Store, is the operation and creating business on social platforms, on smartphone. Who's got a smartphone in here? Anybody with a smartphone? Let's see the people with smartphones. Put your hand in there. Okay, so we're constantly on our phones, and we're constantly doing things and trying this and trying that, and so it's become a market. But have we really thought about, like we're doing in radio, we're beginning to think, how can we be part of that addiction, or you're constantly looking at your iPad, how can we as CFM get in there and become a lifestyle for you? So those are some of the things that we're beginning to wonder about. But anyway, so know your game. Also know your unique advantages. What makes your idea different from yours? And guys, I'm talking from my experience. It's not like, I graduated in know your game and things. So there's a guy who did an excellent pitch. I think the guy from Blower, 6 minutes, you can tell this guy probably went in front of the mirror, he rehearsed it to the T, he knows what he's doing, he knows his time limits, and he aced it within time. And that's wonderful. Know what you're doing. You've been given 6 minutes. I've been given 5. I don't know how I'm doing, but anyway. Also know your products. Know the relationship of the product to the person that you are selling to. Lastly, the guys, we were speaking about this with Pastor T on our radio program today. I don't know if you've been to some of these car parks and these guys come, excuse me, sir, we're selling this thing. Has anyone experienced those guys? And because I sold on the street, I test them, I try and see, do these guys know what they're doing? Do they have a pitch? Because we used to challenge each other that me, I can pitch, bro, you told me, me, I'll sell ice skimos. They would buy, Because I remember we went there, we didn't have shoes, and within about 3-4 months, we were wearing fila, Ewing 23, we were styling, just from selling. You would go there, cash your products, and let me tell you another confession. Sorry, Pastor T. I didn't have my workers permit, so I had to hustle double. Because I would have my merch, carrying it like this, meet the police in South Africa. I don't know if anyone has ever dealt with the police. They hustle in South Africa. Like, hey, where's your passport? They speak to you in Zulu, and you get lost. They're like, you're a foreigner. Where's your passport? So now, the guy, you have to give him your commission for the day, and some of them will be so cruel, they'll take your whole merch, because they like it and go with it. They say, well, I won't arrest you, but give me this, my brother, give me that. So you go back to the office, the guys at the office really didn't care. They're like, okay, that's fine. It's this amount, here's the more much, go and sell. So when you go the next day, you're starting from minus, but you still made it and sold it, made money with 8 good, bought nice clothes, we were styling, and we were having great stuff. Lastly, guys, especially for the younger generation, I think there's a new generation that is there. Someone once said that the brains and the amount of intelligence that we have in this age and in this era is way more than any intelligence that we've had in existence, where things that are amazing have become so familiar because, you know, we are used to it. So there's a generation that's grown now that we call the digital generation. I've got my little daughter, she's 3 years old, she's used to my phone, and when she comes to my laptop, she sees pictures, the first thing she does is she wants to swipe the screen because that's what they know. They are the native generation to this particular thing. And in this generation, I'm going to play you a clip as I just say bye right now, is there are things that are there on the horizon that didn't exist not even 3 years, not even 10 years. Hola, bullets. I'm a DJ, sorry. Bullets, alright, but anyway, there I was getting to my serious, because this one you really gotta set it up and be serious. So anyway, take one. In this generation. But no, seriously guys, you see, in the time that we're in, especially for the young people, I think I had a talk with a couple of other interns at my work there. I said, you guys are young, be daring, be experimental. The digital platform, for example, I mean, I worked with DJs that have also worked during the vinyl era. They didn't have WhatsApp, they didn't have Twitter, they didn't have Facebook. Tomorrow there's going to be something that wasn't there yesterday. So even though I have worked in the industry for 14 years, if you can believe that you can imagine things that have not been seen yet, you can use your confidence to create things that people have not thought about because of the platform that's there. No one is an authority of this transitional era. No one has the experience to say, oh, you're not experienced. They didn't have it. It's coming into being now. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, DJ, hit it! Sorry, hold on. Pull it. I listen to all sorts of music, of course, with my job, and one of the artists I like is Talib Kweli. He's a hip-hop artist. Anyone like Talib? All right. So he's got a track there called Inner Monologue. I like the way they close. I think it's a lecture taken off some university. But I want you to just listen to these words that are uttered on this. Mr. D, thank you very much. DJ, run it.
Making a transitional model program. Because the nature of distribution is changing. The distribution